So we're going to continue here in session 1. And now that we've defined entrepreneurship, we're going to turn our attention to the subject of this course, urban entrepreneurship. First, let's define urban. Now, there's a long-standing definition and a more recent colloquial definition. And in this case, we're referring to the classical definition of urban, which is in, relating to, or characteristic of a town or city. And so the usage might be, we might talk about the urban population. We are not referring to the more recent secondary definition, which is crossed out there at the bottom, denoting or relating to popular dance music associated with black performers. I don't know where that came from anyway, but at any rate, that's not our definition of urban. We're simply talking about a town or city. And more specifically, these urban communities have certain characteristics that set them apart from small town or rural communities. And these characteristics of urban communities give rise to needs and market opportunities that are unique. And it's worth pointing out that as of 2019, 55% of the world's population lived in an urban community. And that proportion is projected to grow to 70% by the year 2050. Currently in the United States, 80% of the population are urban dwellers. And so some of the special characteristics or unique characteristics of urban communities are large size, high population density, racial and ethnic and cultural and religious and economic heterogeneity. You know, people of lots of different backgrounds are typically drawn to urban communities for the economic opportunity that exists there. And so you have this mix that you don't find in smaller communities. Relative anonymity, in that people can exist in an urban community without a lot of attachment to other people in the community. They can be somewhat anonymous. Mobility and transience. You have people coming and going in urban communities. More often, people tend to come and go for job opportunities and for other reasons. There's a formality of relations in urban communities. People who don't know each other tend to assume their formal roles. There's physical closeness or social distance at the same time. So you might live in an apartment complex in a city or a high-rise. You might not even know the person who lives across the hall. It's unlikely in a small town that you would not know the person who lived next door. So you have this phenomenon of physical closeness but social distance. There's a regimentation in urban communities in that people tend to go to work at rush hour, go home at closing time. There's a regimentation to life in an urban community that often doesn't exist or is less evident in smaller places. And then there's a segmentation of personality. I might be one person with my coworkers. I might be another person with the person who delivers my mail. I take on different roles depending on who I'm dealing with in that community. Whereas, again, if I'm in a smaller situation where people know you, they know who you are, they know your family, you tend to be less segmented in terms of these roles that you play. So those are some of the characteristics of urban communities. So we define an urban entrepreneur as one who organizes, manages, and assumes the risk of a business or enterprise to pursue opportunities related to an important need in a city or town or metropolitan area. So you can see that this definition combines the previous definition of entrepreneur with the definition of urban. So similarly, urban entrepreneurship is defined as the activity of organizing, managing, and assuming the risk of a business or enterprise to pursue opportunities related to an important need in a city, town, or metropolitan area. I know that's a mouthful. And then we have this notion of an urban-focused business, as opposed to just a general definition of business. An urban-focused business is a commercial enterprise organized to pursue opportunities related to an important need in a city, town, or metropolitan area. So that's what an urban entrepreneur or urban entrepreneurship or urban-focused business means. So as stated before, in this course, we recognize and emphasize the importance of innovation in entrepreneurship. We don't seek to facilitate businesses that merely operate in an urban community. We seek to facilitate businesses that transform urban communities by pursuing opportunities related to those communities' most important needs. So we seek to facilitate businesses that are significant. They pursue opportunities related to an important need that might exist in multiple urban communities. We want to see businesses that are innovative, that incorporate technology or knowledge that yields significant competitive advantage, benefit to customers, and potential for market disruption. We want to change the game in cities, and we can only do that with significant and innovative businesses. And of course, to sustain themselves, the businesses have to be profitable. Their operating revenue has to consistently exceed expenses. And we want businesses that are repeatable, where customers come back again and again, so we get recurring revenue. And then we want these businesses to be scalable, because if a need exists, say in Detroit, that need probably also exists in Atlanta. It may exist in Shanghai. It may exist in Accra, Ghana. But in many cases, the conditions that we find in one urban community also exist in other urban communities. So if we solve an important problem in one place, chances are there's opportunity to solve that problem in other places as well. So in the coming weeks, you're going to become familiar with several actual kind of earlier stage urban-focused businesses. And in the case of each business, we're going to start out our analysis by asking the same questions. What product or service does the business provide? Who does the business serve? In other words, what is the community that's being served? What community need is the business addressing? And what makes this a significant opportunity, an important opportunity? And what key innovations does the business incorporate that could set themselves apart or could really disrupt the situation meaningfully in this community? So these are the questions we're going to be asking about each of these businesses, these and many more. So we think about Uber, as we talked about in our very first part of this session, as being, Uber is a quintessential urban-focused business. So we can ask the question in this case: what product or service does the business provide? Think about that. Who does the business serve? Is there a particular set of people, community, sub-community, subgroup? what community need is the business addressing? And what makes this a significant opportunity? What key innovations power this business, this Uber business? So again, we can ask these questions over and over again if we think about a business like Waste Management Corporation. Now again, a lot of times people don't think of these businesses as urban entrepreneurship, right? But again, this is a quintessential urban-focused business, and we can ask the very same questions about this kind of a business as I'm sure the founders must have asked years ago when this very successful company was started. What product or service? Who do they serve? What need are they addressing? What makes this significant? What key innovations are there? And then, of course, here's one that you've probably patronized, and you maybe have not thought of Starbucks as an urban-focused business, but where do you find Starbucks locations? You find them predominantly in urban areas, metropolitan areas, and again, we can ask those very same questions and discuss those same questions. So, these few examples I listed here are large, easily recognizable examples of urban-focused businesses. But in the coming weeks, we're going to be working with earlier stage companies and these companies and the entrepreneurs who are behind those companies. And some of these companies could become the urban entrepreneurship stars of tomorrow. So we're looking forward to continuing this discussion, this exploration, this work in urban entrepreneurship.